you are an entrepreneur, a professional, a speaker, or a coach, and although you've come a long way, it's time for you to take it to the next level. We've got you. This is the Author to Authority podcast. We'll help you use authority and influencer marketing to build your business stronger and faster by publishing a book. You'll hear from guests that are thought leaders in sales, marketing, networking, communication, social media, promotion, and business leadership. Let's do it. This is the Author to Authority podcast. And now your host, the extraordinary word ninja, Kim Thompson-Pinder.
Welcome to the Author to Authority podcast. And if you think LinkedIn is dead and useless for building your business, well, you are going to want to listen to today's episode because we're going to be talking about how you can consistently meet with your ideal client. I want to welcome to the show James Donovan. He's a B2B lead gen and LinkedIn expert for accounting firms. He's the driving force behind 92 Media. He specializes in streamlining B2B interactions, offering concise insights, and demystifying the power of LinkedIn. Whoa, a big, juicy, delicious word. Love it. Featured on Top Podcast, James is your go-to authority for maximizing growth in the accounting industry. Welcome to the show, James.
That's quite the introduction. Thank you so much, Kim.
Gee, I wonder who wrote that. It was really good.
No idea.
Of course, audience, the reason I'm laughing is that James wrote his bio and I just read it to you. So good job, James. So just before we get into it, audience, if you're going to guest on shows, if you're going to be doing Facebook Lives, if you are at networking meetings, having a strong introduction and a strong bio that you can hand someone to read could make the difference between someone seeing you as an expert and not. So, James, you get 2 thumbs up for yours.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
So, James, I'm just going to ask you, the obvious question to start off with, can you consistently get good leads from LinkedIn?
Yeah, 100%. There's I would say probably a 4-step process in it, but first part is definitely setting up your personal profile on LinkedIn to showcase yourself as a leader. Similar to what you're just talking about with an introduction at a networking event, having a strong profile, a good cover photo, your contact information readily available is huge. A lot of people miss the mark there. They're trying to generate business, but they don't want people to know how to get in touch with them. That, and then using Sales Navigator on LinkedIn. It's only $100 a month. I think it's one of the most underrated investments you can make for prospecting. You can find exactly who you're looking to get in front of, and you can message anyone on LinkedIn for $100 a month. Obviously, there's a lot of other things you can do afterwards to help automate that process and scale it. But the bare bones, whoever you want to get in front of on LinkedIn, you can target that person, that avatar, exactly who it is, and reach out to them. So yes, you can definitely get leads and appointments from LinkedIn.
When you talked about not having your contact information, I think it's just because we get spammed so much. You would not believe how many emails I get as a podcast host telling me that my YouTube SEO, I have an amazing, wonderful show, but my YouTube SEO stinks. And I mean, they're almost all worded the exact same way. And they can help us improve it and get, more listeners and more audience. And I'm like, delete.
Yeah. You just need to filter through kind of for lack of better words, the garbage, and wait until that solid lead does come through, and then it makes it all worthwhile having your information there. So it's the world we live in. You got to delete a lot of the junk mail, but it is worth it when the right leads come through.
So today I've had someone this is the 4th time messaging me on LinkedIn. And I'd kind of glanced at the first message. It didn't impress me. I didn't really think about it. Now this is the 4th time. And he's like, Well, as a coach, so I finally messaged back just before we got on the call. Did you read my profile? I am not a coach. Please stop spamming people in the DMs and create authentic relationships.
Yeah. So this comes up a lot actually on sales calls I'm on, or just other conversations having with other business owners. There's a lot of people, like anything, they're doing it the wrong way. And if I had to guess, I would say your message you received was probably, "Hey, Kim, I see you work at the Extraordinary Word Ninja." And it was a novel about what they're doing. Has nothing about you in there. And that alone, you're not going to be interested in it, because there's nothing about that is, what can they do for me? Yes, that is a problem I've been having. How can they help? People just jump in to show what they do versus ask the questions of, can I even help this person in the first place? So that's one of the biggest mistakes people make for prospecting.
James, I would love for you to share, just before we get into talking more about LinkedIn, share a little bit of your business story and how did you become a lead gen and LinkedIn expert?
Yeah. 4.5 years ago, I started this company. Prior to starting, I was working for an advertising company in Toronto. I was starting to see, the online world, affiliate marketing, the money that can be made online, and doing it remotely, and a lot of the freedom that other people are having. And I got laid off from my job, and a couple of days later, I saw an ad on Facebook about starting a digital marketing company. I knew I had experience in digital marketing. It was pitched as a very easy thing to do. Get a couple of clients, make $10,000 a month, never considered overhead, never considered payroll, all of those things. It was a lot harder, obviously, at the start. Kind of fast forward a handful of years, we're now working with accounting firms across the US, and just found a space on LinkedIn where it is getting a little bit more saturated now, but doing it properly, you can still make connections and relationships and automate some of that process. And there's a need for it. It seems really easy to me now, but the clients we're working with, a lot of the times, like, that's just not their skill set. They're really solid at what they do, providing financial advice and helping people out in that aspect. And I need all that help as well from them. But there's still a huge need for helping people generate leads for their business. So that's where we've been hanging out now. And we started bringing on appointment setting to add more value to the service. And it's been good. It's been a good 4.5 years.
You got in right before COVID. You would have been just doing this a few months when COVID hit. Did that make a difference?
Yeah, 100%. If a pandemic was to come, in a couple months, knock on wood, it doesn't, I wouldn't recommend starting a marketing company right before that, because that was the first, it seemed like it was the first budget that was slashed from virtually everyone I was speaking to. So it did make for some tough sledding for definitely the first year and a half. But after that, and there was parts of trying to figure out how to run a business, how to sell my own product, how to create an offer that people will want. So yeah, that was definitely a challenge, but we worked through it. I say there's a team now, but we were able to get through that. And I definitely think it helped shape who I am today and be a lot more resilient. And I do think if I can get through a pandemic for starting a company, again, knock on wood, hopefully there's no other hurdles that get thrown my way that I won't be able to overcome.
Well, at least one's not so global in scale.
Yes, exactly.
James, I love it. I love your enthusiasm. I loved how you dug in and did it. You recognized that the times weren't easy, but you didn't give up. And those are the stories that I just love to hear. We're going to take a quick break. RTI Publishing has some good resources for you to help you if you're looking to write a book that converts readers into clients and helps you scale your business. We'll be right back. Writing and publishing a book that converts readers into client and scales your business is hard, but it doesn't have to be. Get my free checklist at bit.ly/create and scale
that will show you what you need to do to have your book become a well-converting lead generating tool.
James, I so enjoyed hearing your story. Let's get into LinkedIn. I mean, that's my preferred social media. I mean, I do hop onto Facebook because my family, my friends, are there, and I use that to keep up with them. But if I'm going to pick a social media, for me, it's LinkedIn. And I would love to learn more about how you can use that effectively to tracked and meet with your ideal client.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know, may take some heat or some comments from other people, but I almost don't consider LinkedIn social media in the same sense where you think of Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and maybe there's some other new ones out there now. But LinkedIn, I look at it as just a networking platform for professionals. You're not going to get as many people posting silly dances and their family vacations on there. A little bit more so the personal stuff's coming into LinkedIn now, but it really is a platform for networking with other professionals. So getting on there and creating your profile to set yourself up as the expert in have that as like your sales landing page, so that again, it's really easy for people to get in touch with you. And when someone lands on your page, they know exactly what you do and who you. That makes life a lot easier on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a bit of a longer term play. I think of it as SEO in a sense, where the more people you're connecting with, that you're constantly building that network, and you get exposed to their connection. All the content you post, at the start, you might not get a lot of engagement on it, but if you just remain consistent in posting value and asking questions and commenting on other people to get yourself in more and more people's news feeds, you're going to drive a lot of traffic back to your page. And I am starting to notice that now, connecting with people for the last 3.5, 4 years on LinkedIn. It's very common to get a lot of inbound messages now that turn into leads, because of just that remaining consistent on the platform. So it often gets overlooked as a place to generate business.
Mm-hmm. So let's break this down a little bit more from the two perspectives. So one perspective would obviously be the inbound. So that would include, content creation and stuff like that, so that you get inbound leads. And then outbound, how do you, as this entrepreneur, reach out in an authentic way that's, doesn't get you spam messages like the one I sent today?
So as far as the content goes, I think leading with values, and don't be scared to give away that's my advice. I've heard that from a lot of people, and people have significantly larger followings and significantly larger bank accounts. They say lead with value. So if it works, it should work for me as well. But most of the time, I guess leading with value, I think people have a fear of, well, now they can just go and do it themselves. Sure, the minority will, but majority of people, they're just going to be too lazy. They're not going to do it, or they'll think about it and, something else will come up. There'll be a new shiny object. So if you lead with value, people have a perception of, if that's what they're giving away for free, their paid stuff must be really good. So I do recommend leading with value. As far as outbound messaging, definitely taking a look at someone's profile to see who they are. Make sure they're in the right space. They're not a coach if you're trying to reach out about coaching. And then know your audience and what they're paying. Because if you just reach out and say like, hey, for example, with accountants that we work with, like, hey, I can help you save money on this. Great. Everyone else can. And the last 100 emails I've got this month, because it's tax season, they can all do the same. But if it's, hey, I actually work with dentists and on average help them reduce their taxes by 30%. Well, if you own a dental, you're going to know how much 30% on your bottom line means to your business. So the more specific you can get, the more likelihood you have of those responses coming back and leading towards paid engagement.
So when you're reaching out to people, how do you initially reach out?
Through a connection message connection with your inside of it in LinkedIn, and then InMail. InMail's huge because you kind of get a 2-for-1. When you send someone a message through InMail, they're also going to get popped up inside of their inbox unless they've turned that setting off. But default, they're going to get an email there right away. So you're getting in front of this. And InMail, from my experience anyways, you just get a significantly higher intent when you get leads coming back from InMail. Because majority of the time, if you're a paid user and you reach out to someone else who's a paid user, they're paying to be on the platform, they're more active, and they're looking for opportunities to grow their business because right off the bat, they're already, even if it's only $100, they have the mindset that they're investing in their business or in their personal brand. InMail is a huge place for finding quality leads.
What those messages look like? This is the one thing I always curious about. So, okay, great. I've got to, send these emails, these messages to people. But what do you say?
2 to 3 sentences. Keep it really short. I would have to check what we have sending out now from mine, but it'd be something along the lines of, if we were looking to work with you, Kim, hey, Kim, let's say you're an accounting firm, right? You own an accounting firm. Hey, Kim, last month, we helped one of our clients, Jason, add 54K of recurring in the last handful of weeks. Curious if you have the capacity to bring that much work. Something along those lines, right? So it's very short and to the point. We're also dropping some statistics so that you could try to see yourself in that message instead of just, hey, Kim, we do marketing and all of these things. I mean, no one wakes up and says they want to buy marketing. It's the result that the marketing gets. Or, are you tired? If you're a fractional CFO, for example, a lot of people, they have a hard time getting their value across to business owners as a fracfo. So an outbound message, hey, Kim, do you struggle to find businesses who value what it is you're really short? Get the conversation started. From there, we can dive in a little bit more, try to peel back. Hey, Kim, does it make sense for us to get on a call? Because we actually work with a bunch of CFOs and help them get in front of people who do see them.
Yeah. I like that. Thank you. Because, sometimes it's, we talk about what we need to do, but, I've known people and I've interviewed people, they've shared what, but they won't share. And to me, sometimes the how is where the most value is. Because usually we already know what we need to. We know we need to be on LinkedIn. We know we need to be making these connections, but the how. So thank you, James, for sharing with us some really great hints and tips on just how, you can start those conversations. I love being around people. I have no problem starting conversations spokenly. It feels weird, even though I am a writer, to do it.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, it ultimately, it's just a numbers game as well, right? The more of the right people you can get in front of every single day that's how you're going to grow your firm or your business. So if people don't know what, they're not going to find you and come around with their credit card. Hey, take my money. I need your help. But they don't know who you are. So you're almost doing them a disservice by not getting out there and telling people what you do and how you can help.
So we're going to shift gears here, James. So you told me before you were not an author. So I'm going to ask you the question that I asked the non-authors on the show. So if you were to write to help you build your business, what do you think the topic would be?
I think it would be about why start your own business. And what it would involve is probably some of my own personal highlights or accomplishments that I'm really of, and what taught me along the way, like the harder. It is a roller coaster, but I've gotten a lot better the last couple of years at kind of weathering that storm, not getting too high, not getting too low. But when you start to reap those benefits of all the work and see what comes from that, that's really, I've always wanted to work for myself and travel around the world. And when I first started this, all I wanted to do was just replace my corporate income. that has happened. And now I spend my winters in Mexico for 4 months of the year. And then I go back to Canada and the warmer months there with friends. So being able to pick up and take my laptop wherever I go, my whole team's remote, as long as there's nothing stopping our team from working. And I try to encourage the other members of the team to do the same thing. Like, you're not bound to having to be where your home is, or even to have a home. Like, go be completely digital and hop around. So that would be, I think, what people should try to work on their own, or find something that's digital if that's what they want. But that's what I'd put in. And probably a lot of pictures. It wouldn't be a long.
I love that, James. Thanks so much. Just as we start to close off, James, would love to give you an opportunity to share a final thought. And if people have enjoyed this conversation and they want to connect with you, how can they do that?
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I really appreciate you having on as a guest as well. I'd say the easiest way, kind of the theme of this conversation, is connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm on there every day. I would love to have a conversation with you. If you're in the B2B space, you're looking to grow your business, you're just looking for some advice on how to get in front of your audience, or you're looking to hire us, we can have a conversation, see if it's a good fit. If you're in B2B, I highly recommend you need to be on LinkedIn. It's just kind of full stop. You need to be on LinkedIn. That's where you're going to find some of your best clients.
How can people find you on LinkedIn? What's your handle?
It's James B. Donovan. I'm pretty sure it's James B. Donovan, and from Toronto, Ontario.
Nice. Thank you so much, James. It's been a pleasure and honor having you on the show. Audience, if you're looking for what to watch next, I want to direct you back to episode 477, how to use video on LinkedIn. If you're watching on YouTube, you know the routine. There is a thumbnail somewhere here on the screen. If you're on your favorite podcast app, you are going to be scanning back. Less than 10 episodes, but it's another great episode to help you on your LinkedIn journey. Audience, thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you on the very next episode. Bye now.
You've been listening to the Author to Authority podcast. The extraordinary word ninja, Kim Thompson Pinder, has helped over 200 entrepreneurs, professionals, speakers, and coaches write and publish their books that have become incredible marketing tools for their business. And many of those have gone on to become Amazon best-selling authors and have used their books to land high-level clients and get on big stages. We hope you've enjoyed the show. Make sure to like, rate, and review. And we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, hit the website at www.authortoauthoritypodcast.com. See you next time.